talking to him in between rounds, and he was on camera not too long ago, and he was playing against another loam, very little loam, more of a Jund deck, had one loam in it, and he got through that with a victory, and he's back here. He lost last round to Elves, which put him at X and 2 here. But he's also a pretty skilled player around these parts and a competent mage, so it should be a good match here.
He is in fact a Standard Open champion from the Columbus Open Series that took place at Origins last year. And he in fact eliminated me in my first Open Series top 8.
All right, well I don't like him now.
Oh, well, he's a great guy.
Okay,
I got nothing against him.
I like him. All right.
I could do with him drawing less Force of Wills, but other than that,
right.
I'll certainly not be drawing Force of Wills today.
No. He wished he had a Force of Will because he got game 2 and 3 Progenitist Natural Ordered out of the game, and his deck is just very susceptible to that. You have no outs to that card, so. We're underway here. Blue-Red Delver against Jund Loam.
Yeah, Andrew Hurst is playing Blue-Red Delver, amusingly enough, the deck I was playing when Michael eliminated me those many months ago. His list, it looks pretty standard. He has gone with the inclusion of Spell Pierce and Daze 2 and 2. He's main decking 3 Price of Progress. He does not have the 1 of Fire Blast that has grown near and dear to my heart. But beyond that, yeah, pretty standard stuff. 2 Vapor Snags are the only cards that really speak out as a bit of an innovation, and those are even becoming closer and closer to industry standard as people realize that Tarmogoyf is in the way.
Yes,
and he must be moved.
He is truly the difference between Rug and Blue-Red. I mean, Tarmogoyf being probably the best creature, arguably of all time. 2 mana, big creature. Blue-Red doesn't really have anything to
That's
mimic
his actual keyword.
Yes,
big.
It says big. It says big, big/big. So, I mean, Blue-Red, you got to admit to your weakness, in which they have done, to that card, and then you add Chain of Vapor or Vapor Snag or some kind of bounce spell, and you'll be able to keep going on, keep trucking. Yeah,
the main advantage Blue-Red Delver has over Rug Delver is it is not nearly as vulnerable to its mana base, although it does sacrifice that closing game power of Tarmogoyf and Nimble Mongoose.
Right. All right, so we have a Ponder start off here after a mulligan to 6. Belfatto has kept his opening 7. And we'll see how this Ponder goes.
That looked good. It's a bunch of spells, and he already has 2 lands, so... Yeah,
these decks. Oh, he's going to shuffle.
Shuffling.
I think you might want a 3rd land just to operate with Snapcaster. I'm not sure.
I think that's a little aggressive.
Yeah, I think you keep the 3 spells here because you can go the other route where you have no spells here, and then you're in deep trouble.
Yeah, I think he's also probably prioritizing finding a creature,
right?
Or perhaps a counterspell, or perhaps one or the other, like figuring I need one of those 2 things. But in actuality, he doesn't. He's playing against a pretty slow opponent.
Yes.
And Price of Progress, which was in that Ponder, is going to be one of the best cards he can have against Belfatto's deck.
It is a maximum damage spell against Belfatto. Andrew did draw Force of Will over through that, and now following up with a Grim Lavamancer to add some pressure. He has a Ponder open, but he's deciding, I guess he has a Spell Pierce, I would guess, the reason why he wouldn't Ponder there.
It looks like he's just on the holds here.
Huh.
I see Force of Will,
Ponder,
Snapcaster.
Force, but I don't think I would hold back because the worst possible play Belfatto can do. Oh, I guess he does at Tarmogoyf. That's a rough one. He can answer Dark Confidant easily, obviously, and he can answer Deathrite Shaman with a Bolt. But I guess he's playing just in case Tarmogoyf comes. But you know what? I think I'd Ponder here to see if there's a blue card in the top 3. Which there is more likely is, and you can pitch that to Force of Will.
Yeah, and you can also generate some value by setting up a better draw step.
Right, and fuel your Grim Lavamancer.
Tarmogoyf is about the only card I'd be really scared of here, and it's just a simple man's Punishing Fire. Obviously, Punishing Fire is a real workhorse against Blue-Red Delver. It kills literally every creature in the deck at the cost of 3 mana effectively per use.
I think Andrew's thinking about this. He definitely shouldn't Force of Will this because he has the Grove of the Burn Willows, and even if he didn't, you can't really fight to save the Lavamancer in this scenario.
The sideboard strategy for Blue-Red Delver when facing a card like Punishing Fire, in fact, when facing specifically Punishing Fire, is you just want to shift towards Dome mode. You want to try and get in as much damage to the face as possible, avoid using your creatures. In sideboarding, you're even likely going to want to sideboard the ones out that can't immediately convert for damage.
Right.
I know I've sideboarded out Delver Secrets when faced against Punishing Fire decks because it's just not going to do enough.
Right.
I might get a Lava Spike out of it, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, like not
More
good.
likely not. It has to be turn 1, it has to be flipped immediately, otherwise you can expect it to be killed there. And Belfatto also has uncounterable 2-mana removal spells to hit that Delver too.
This was an excellent Ponder. It hit Brainstorm, Fetch Land, and Price of Progress.
Okay.
So those are like the best cards, I think. Fetch land's a little loose, but there's a brainstorm, so
right.
it's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely the price of progress is going to be a winner here. He's going to need it. Belfatto, his deck is a very, like you said earlier, very slow deck, and it takes a long time to build momentum. A lot of times it'll come down to Liliana, which he plays many copies of in the main. I think it is 3 copies of the main, yep. So you're going to try to get that up, cranking that one up, unless you have one of his creatures out to deal early damage. And if he doesn't, which in this case he doesn't, he's going to rely on the late game Liliana and Life from the Loam with Wastelands. So he has a Deathrite Shaman, who's not too shabby against Blue-Red Delver, but his livelihood is very short here.
Yeah, Andrew's turn here is basically just going to be Brainstorm, throw back Force, and the worst card of the top 3, and then Bolt the Delver.
I think there's another. That's the original price of progress.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to be throwing back, I guess, 2 lands instead of Force land, because he drew 2. Just kind of a rough beat, but...
Yeah, see, those lands are not going to do him any good. He has the 3 that he needs for the game, if you're counting Snapcaster here.
Yeah, and he definitely does want to go ahead and Bolt that Deathrite Shaman. It's going to be a lot more trouble than it's worth to leave it around.
Right. Problem here is Andrew's down to 2 cards. One's a price, which is good, but the other one is a force, and Michael's at 16. So Andrew's going to need to start building some capital in his hand to be able to, drop him down here.
He can probably sneak this Snapcaster in for 5. That seems like pretty reasonable. Michael not likely to hold open Punishing Fire all the time.
Right.
So that's going to be able to put Michael within more range of price of progress. And at that point, he really just needs to draw a second copy, and he'll likely have it sewn up.
Mm-hmm. His main deck answer to Price of Progress, from what I see, another Deathrite. That's going to be pretty good. He has a main deck Seismic Assault, which combined with Loam is going to be pretty deadly. But Michael doesn't have a Loam yet, or doesn't have Loam going yet, so to speak. I think he's holding one. It's hard to tell.
No, he cast one last turn. He's already he's returned to Verdant Catacombs and Forgotten Cave, so he's beginning to get the engine going. And I think he has another copy in his hand as well. But yeah, he's not.
I assume he would cast it here, I assume he would dredge it for turn there.
Well, I think he has another one in his hand, which is probably why he didn't. I'm not sure why he didn't just go ahead and cast it for some value here. Maybe he has a Bolt and intends to recur Punishing Fire, or maybe just really wants the Punishing Fire.
Probably that, yeah. I think he's going to go Punishing Fire here.
Daze, that's not ideal. Well, we're going to have to just Snap Bolt this Deathrite Shaman.
Yep. So, as you said, he's doing this. That Snapcaster is not going to live for too long.
No, but it will at least tie up Michael's mana,
Right. All right, here comes Punishing Fire. Back to hand. Pays the red, brings it back. We'll see what Michael does here.
Yep, he really just wanted to get Punishing Fire back in his hand that turn.
And again, he draws again he draws. I'm pretty sure you dredge here. Like, I've watched him play earlier, and when he had no spells in hand, he was dredging. Now he has a fistful of cards, and he would dredge every turn. I'm wondering why he's not dredging here. You want to fill your graveyard up with cycling lands, so you could be able just to cast Life in the Loams and have pretty much an Ancestral Recall at will, being able to draw 3 cards off the cycling lands. Because his hand right now looks like...
I think he's drawing because he really wants a threat.
Right.
Like a way to close out the game. He knows that Punishing Fire is actually not a race against Andrew's draw step.
Yeah, I understand. And once he gets more of the cycle lands in the graveyard, he has a lot higher chance of getting to that threat. So a lot of times I'll see the dredge happen here, but drawing is not the worst in the world. He does play a lot of land, though, so natural draws might result in mana, more or less.
Andrew's going to go for it now. He sees that Wasteland. He doesn't want Michael to be able to pass turn with Wasteland untapped and short his Price of Progress by 4 damage. He's just going to go ahead and get an 8, put Michael to 8, make him fear it.
I like that play. I think that now Michael has to have Wasteland open to avoid getting the exact same thing happening to him again. He can't really play any lands.
Awkwardly enough, 8 is a lot worse than 6 for Andrew. He does not have access to things like Flame Rift. He's all on Chain Lightnings, Lightning Bolts, Lava Spikes. Or he doesn't have Lava Spikes, actually. He's all in on just the Chain Lightnings and Bolts, and Chain Lightning can even be sent to his own dome. So
yeah,
he is a little burn light compared to other Delver decks, and that might mean he can't close out this game in time.
Right. He's going to need maybe a Snapcaster to be able to price again. But like you said, we have did he play another non-basic? So he has now...
Yeah, he played
Verdant
Catacombs.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I thought that was a duel for a minute. All right, so end of turn here.
It does actually, it kind of compounds Andrew's outs a little bit. Once Michael has to go to 7, even killing 2 of his lands, he'd take 4 from a
then
price, and then he's
die to a
dead to
bolt.
any bolt effect.
Right, right.
Which obviously Andrew has a lot of those when you count in Snapcaster Mages, Chain Lightnings, and actual Lightning Bolts. So
Yeah, definitely.
it's possible that holding the Verdant Catacombs was pretty reasonable here.
Yeah, you want to definitely, like we talked about earlier when we were chatting, you want to limit your opponent's way to beat you, especially when you're ahead. And I think Michael has to assume he's ahead, even though he's at 8, because Andrew's just sitting there not doing anything. And those obviously are, I would put him on Daze or Spell Pierce, because as Michael's doing, he's casting nothing, not giving Andrew a chance to Spell Pierce or Daze. So I put him on those spells.
Yep.
He's
going to find out for sure.
So here we go. So he has a Vapor Snag here. I think you take, obviously, you just take the Vapor Snag.
Yeah.
Another card. Daze doesn't do anything. Neither card is really exciting. But Vapor Snag is another single damage. At some point it will be.
Yeah, Andrew is definitely fine with his hand here, actually. Like, he gets to hold on to the Force, which as soon as Michael finds 1 threat, he'll be forcing that threat immediately. So that means Michael now knows he needs to find 2, or he needs to find a discard spell and then a threat.
Right, right. Because at the beginning, I know he's banking on drawing that Seismic Assault, because Seismic Assault with the land that he has out right now will put a super fast clock on Andrew. And obviously a Tarmogoyf would do the same. His other cards, though, he only has a couple Deathrite Shamans left, 2 Eternal Witness, 2 Dark Confidant. So he needs to draw one of those ASAP before Andrew has a chance to build some burn here.
Andrew can now hardcast Force of Will as well.
Yep. Alright, so Loam Dredging. He's back on this train here. And then he mills a Tarmogoyf after the Punishing Fire. So he's kind of looking at, and he knows he has Eternal Witness, so being in the graveyard is not the worst if he can resolve one, first of all. Like you saw, the Force of Will is going to be an obstacle here.
There's also the fact that Michael can dredge his way into Volrash Stronghold, which is a land that will give him a stream of creatures for the rest of the game.
Yeah, and that's definitely going to be a stellar dredge there if he lands that in the graveyard. Now he's drawing. So Michael is at the point of a fistful of land.
Yeah.
Andrew has to assume the same, because Loam decks just have lots of land.
Yeah, Michael has a lot of not action going on here. He's designed his deck to be able to grind out games, but that's specifically what Andrew's not interested in doing. He just wants to play basically 7 spells. He's a combo deck, in essence.
Yep, he's Mono Red's upgrade. The ability to thwart combo while doing the same things Red does. I think his Brainstorm.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. Let's see if this yields a bunch of burn spells, and if it does, this could be... I see a Bolt and 2 lands.
And neither of them
Not
are fetch lands. That's real troubling.
That is. I think that's going to leave Andrew in a world of hurt, giving Michael at least 2 more turns to find answers or threats. So he's back to hard casting Force. He's got Bolt, so Michael's effectively at 5.
Now note that we did go ahead and fetch prior to this turn, thinning our deck on Andrew's side, but if he'd held that fetch open, drawing Brainstorm could have been, a very different story for him. So
I think in the Brainstorm decks, and especially playing an Esper Stoneblade, you definitely don't use those fetches a thin. It's just too devastating once you draw the Brainstorm to keep those cards on top.
I actually think it's pretty questionable to play, like playing the 5th land is in and of itself a little questionable. I think playing the 6th one is generally going to be just, outright not very good.
Right.
Because if you draw a future Brainstorm, that's a card you can throw back.
Yeah, yeah. And I played the 6th one so he could hard cast Force, but he doesn't really need to because the Daze is at the point of worthless.
Right, so I would rather have held the land in hand, been able to throw it back probably.
Just in case you had to Force. I mean, who knows if Andrew even had to Force. He doesn't know that Michael's going to draw the Deathrite, so he could have had a couple of those cards in his hand there.
I think that maybe, the 6 mana thing is actually a little more reasonable if we are running things like the Fire Blast that some people champion.
Right.
But
do you think you should have used the Force there instead of the Bolt? Because the Force is his only answer to Goyf at this point, or Eternal Witness. So now...
Yeah, I probably would have preferred to use the Bolt, but like I said, it's definitely a difficult spot because Andrew's burn configuration means he actually needs 3 spells and not just 2.
Yeah.
So throwing one away there will put him right back in the spot where he needs another one.
Yeah, and we know what his next 2 draws are going to be, so he's He is hurting right now. He needs a shuffle effect immediately.
On 24 life, he's not as vulnerable to Tarmogoyf as he would be normally. He just has a full turn to take a hit.
Right. Oh, he just
so
milled
bad.
the stronghold, so
Things are about to get underway.
Yep, he has 2 Tarmogoyfs in his graveyard. He milled another one. I don't know if he has a witness, so I don't think he does. So he's going to put a Tarmogoyf on top, get this clock started, and start beating, and then put another Tarmogoyf on top, which will effectively put Andrew at a, let's see, hits him for 5, puts him at 20, 2 come out. Yeah, it's going to be about, 3-4 turns before Andrew's finished here. Yeah, give me that daze.
I would actually probably be dazing to pick up an island in case I draw Brainstorm.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah.
Definitely. We've talked about having these. He's going to have one more land guarantee, but you want to have both in your hand just so you can keep all 3 of your new cards. All right, here's the Goyf.
Oh, he just
has
a
Goyf too.
Wow. Okay. And another Wasteland. That'll actually give him a lot more protection from Price of Progress. I think,
that's only a 2 damage Price of Progress.
Now
3 damage.
3,
you count the fetch line, yeah.
Now that he has established this in play, he actually doesn't need to Life from the Loam for that Volrush Stronghold.
Right.
Once he has the threat, it's probably better to just stay at the higher life total.
And we know, well, Michael being at 5, this Andrew has, I would give him maybe 3 turns with 1 Goyf before it starts to get a little close. Because he has Punishing Fire that he can also churn if he decides to. He's not returning him. He's just untapping.
I don't think he can risk it because he needs to keep open those wastelands.
Right.
So yeah, he's.
Well,
gonna
Andrew immediately
play
played his land, which now he has no cards in hand. Yeah, so he has
need to not play these lands. We're losing a lot of value on potential Brainstorm draws.
And the bluff, because now Michael can easily tap out. When you have no cards in your hand, you might as well zap him.
Yeah, during the instant, Michael can effectively deal Andrew an additional point of damage because he's okay to tap his wastelands against an empty hand, whereas against 1 card in hand, he can't afford to tap those wastelands. He could die to a Price of Progress in response.
Right, exactly. All right, so he is dredging, getting Volrush Stronghold to double his clock with Tarmogoyf. He's going to play the Stronghold here, I assume. He has enough mana to play Stronghold, put on top, draw a card, play Goyf. Actually, he's 1 green short. Nope, he's not. But he's not going to tap those wastelands, like you said. There's no reason to risk it.
I think he's okay to keep it slow and steady.
Right. I would go to my upkeep and do it, I think. You might as well, if he has, I don't know if he has another basic force. He does not. And that's why he's not fetching with the Verdict Catacomb. Yeah, he's definitely taking it slow, which he should. See, we're really just anxious to see what Andrew draws, see if this game has even any, if he has any ground to stand on here.
Another Volcanic Island, not going to do it. No, plays it again.
I think he is very dejected.
Yeah,
he doesn't know
he's
that
letting
how close.
It get to him.
Yeah, he doesn't know how close he still is in this game. It's not like these Goyfs can just kill him on the spot. Michael can't just finish you off without. I mean, he can draw Seismic Assault, which is about it. There's only 1 in his deck, and that's the only real haymaker here. Now Michael's free to use Volrush Stronghold. Oh, he never played the Volrush Stronghold.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, he's still just trying to keep a very low number of lands on the table, playing it as safe as possible.
Right, and as long as he knows Andrew's going to play a land and you draw a land and play it,
If he played Volrush Stronghold, he would be vulnerable to a top deck Price of Progress. That would be the only way Andrew can kill him right now.
That would be 5 damage on the dot.
5 on the dot, yeah. Yep. So savvy play for Michael to
he's
restrain himself here.
Yeah, he's counting it up. He knows. Well, if that's the case, I would have stopped dredging Life from the Loam a long time ago. Nope.
He's going to go for it now. I think he's likely intending to waste himself, perhaps preemptively, or maybe he just wants to get that extra clock going.
If he wastes himself, well, now he can't even waste himself out. He'll take 5.
I mean, like over the course of the next turn. Like he's going to give Andrew this 1 draw step.
Right. And
to
then
find
waste
something,
himself
and then waste
bring
himself,
back.
loam back the wastes, and waste himself again to get himself all the, or I should say, play them in order to preserve his.
I don't agree with
advantage.
Playing safe the entire time and then playing a risky play here.
Yeah, I would have wasted myself this turn, and then played the Stronghold on the next turn.
Right.
And that way you don't give Andrew this 1 draw step to find Price of Progress.
He's asking to see the graveyard.
He's asking to see the graveyard. Don't know what he could have drawn that would make it that relevant.
Me neither. Alright, so he's holding a fistful of Abrupt Decays.
Yeah.
I saw 3 at least, or 2 at least, and I think
I guess
saw
he's
one.
just concerned about the Stronghold. It's going to put back Tarmogoyf.
Oh, he's SNC for you.
Oh, it's going to put back Death Ray Shaman. Okay, that's also reasonable.
Gain some life too. Yeah.
Yeah, all he needs to do is untap with it, and that'll effectively put the game out because he'll be gaining more life per turn than Andrew's average draw step can do.
Right. All right, so Andrew's saying everything is resolving, everything's good, so he definitely does not have the price of progress here. So he would have dropped it from the sky and knocked him out of the park here.
I would have asked for a mic so I could drop it immediately after.
I would too, yeah. Take a little break, walk, take a smoke break. Feel good about yourself.
Planeswalker in the graveyard for life from the loam ticks up that Tarmogoyf.
Yep. What are we missing here? Tribal and Artifact.
Tribal, Artifact, and Enchantment.
Okay. So Deathrite comes on the board here. Obviously, Michael is in the driver's seat here still. He has the ability now to... he still is in trouble to...
Price, yeah.
Yeah, Price.
Price can still kill him.
He's tapping a Wasteland. He's Wastelanding himself now.
Okay, he is going ahead and doing it now, and then he's going to play Life from the Loam, get back that Wasteland, and play it.
Yeah.
Which is what we described before. So yeah, he basically reversed the play, but...
he gave his opponent one turn to draw.
Yeah, it winds up working out the same way now. He's safe.
Right. Now, if Andrew has a bolt and he draws another bolt, that's another whole nother thing there.
Well, as long as that Deathrite Shaman untaps, you know.
Right. So he's going to have to draw. His hand has to have a burn spell in now, and he has to draw one here.
Yep.
The way his body language is showing, I don't know if he has a burn spell.
I assume he drew a counter spell. No, he drew Goblin Guide. It looks like he just drew another one.
Okay, so he's just saying go. At this point, I don't think Andrew can win this game.
It would take a pretty serious misstep from Michael to let that happen.
Right. And so far, seeing him waste his own stuff on turn, I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, Michael has solved this puzzle. He's not going to give Andrew a way back in.
Right. All right, so hitting it for 5 here. And he's just going to gain 2 life right off the bat. He needs to make sure he has enough mana to kill both Goblin Guides.
Oh, he's exiling a spell?
Interesting.
Oh, he's exiling Price of Progress to avoid a Snapcaster Mage being drawn.
Okay.
That's reasonable. That play, he's not going to die to any of Andrew's draw steps. He already knows that.
Right.
So he might as well just take this opportunity.
I don't know if he has the mana to kill 2 Goblin Guides. He has Abrupt Decay. The Punishing Fire is going to take the Grove here. Yeah, I don't think he can kill both. But
well, one of them's dead to Inquisition cost.
Oh, he got one. You're right, correct.
But he is going to go ahead and be taking 2 here unless he has a Bolt, which I assume he does, because otherwise he would not have tapped out the way he did.
Right.
He has one of his Punishing Fires still.
Yes, he still has, but he gave Andrew an opportunity to draw another haste creature there. Not that it would have killed him or anything.
Yeah, he would still get to untap with Deathrite Shaman. And really, as long as every time Andrew draws a card, he gets to activate Deathrite Shaman, Andrew can't catch up.
No.
It would require just a straight run of bolts in order to outrace the Deathrite Shaman's gain 2. So.
Yeah. Now Price actually only does what, 2 damage or 3 damage total here.
Yep. Michael has limited it back down to that, which is very reasonable and keeping him well ahead of the race.
Yep. So Andrew has to be thinking of the next game, which he's going to now, and he's got to feel pretty bad about his dazes in his hand, how they didn't really do too much.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good against the turn 2 Tarmogoyf, but not really against the Dark Confidant, which he has enough burn to deal with. Not against really the Deathrite Shaman, he has enough burn to deal with that too. So I don't think I'd keep dazing in this matchup, or at least definitely not Spell Pierce. Spell Pierce counters nothing relevant. Yeah, so definitely cutting the Spell Pierce. What do you think you'd bring in with him over here?
I would be looking at Surgical Extraction. If you can take apart the Loam Engine, you can really get pretty far ahead.
I'd definitely bring in Surgical as well.
Yeah, the 4th Price of Progress for sure. I might consider Vendilion Click and Fire and Ice. I think that they're a little unique options, but as we already discussed, creatures are not that great. One of the things Vendilion Click has going for it is that it can actually cycle Punishing Fire out of Michael's hand during the end step.
Yeah, you can definitely get it.
The problem is that play is not going to pay off if Michael just has a 2nd copy or has a Bolt. So I would still be on the plan of going ahead and cutting my Delver of Secrets, cutting most, if not all, of my Grim Lavamancers, and just trying to draw enough burn spells to assemble a critical mass.
And Surgical is fantastic against this deck. Either hitting the Life from the Loam, or if Michael goofs and you can hit a Punishing Fire, it's pretty much lights out.
Yeah.
That's the tough part. I agree, boarding out these creatures because they're so fragile to the basis of Michael's deck. But if you can land a decent Surgical Extraction, you might be able to make your creatures worth something. Definitely keep the Snapcasters in.
I think you definitely keep in Goblin Guide and Snapcaster because both of them represent a reasonable amount of damage on their own. Obviously, Goblin Guide kind of awkward to keep in against the Lone deck, which has so many lands.
Right.
But Delver is a much more inconsistent bit of damage. Now, if we're boarding out our Dazes and Pierces, maybe we have enough room to keep in a Delver. Like, obviously, Vapor Snag's not very awesome in this matchup.
Definitely
so
not, yeah. I mean, it's an
might
answer to
wanna
Goyf,
side those
sort of.
out.
It's in more of a...
But once you side out all your creatures, it's not even that big a deal.
It's more of a gut shot. It deals some damage to the face there. Michael, however, has a lot of stuff for graveyard decks. He has Spellbomb, Grafdigger's Cage, Surgical Extraction. So he is hating on the graveyard mirrors. For this deck, he has Duress, maybe. Might not be too bad. Injury Explosives he's going to bring in to deal with those creatures, even if we board a few out here. And Abrupt Decay. I think he held all his Abrupt Decays. Was pretty distraught about that, too. Because, I mean, the reason why Andrew couldn't even play him because of Punishing Fire. So maybe Abrupt Decay in this matchup with Punishing Fire is overkill. I don't know if it's all worth boarding out there.
Yeah, I think in Game 1 it's definitely overkill because there are no answers to Punishing Fire. In Game 2, it's kind of reasonable to want to have access to Abrupt Decay and Punishing Fire just because
you don't want to die
you kind of might expect a Surgical Extraction. It's a pretty standard board card for blue-red. Another route Andrew can go is to keep in his creatures and, side out all the counter spells and just hope to get lucky. It's a much better plan on the play than on the draw. If he can just, if a Delver survives for 2 turns unchecked and actually flips on the first turn, that is much more damage than most cards in his deck will net. So that's a worthwhile exchange.
The counterspells in his deck are very unimpressive in this matchup. There's very few matches where you don't want counterspells, but most of the time when you're having dredge, graveyard-based decks, counterspells are pretty bad.
Looks like Andrew did bring in Fire and Ice. I can see it in his opening 7. But his hand is otherwise land light, which is exactly what he wants. He needs a density of spells.
He wants 2 mana, maybe a third one day, but at the very beginning he wants just to have 2 lands and then burn.
It may mean that he winds up having to fetch Volcanic Island this turn, which would leave him vulnerable to Wasteland, but, nothing doing.
Right.
He's going to go for a mountain.
He's mountain, okay.
It's possible I missed his hand. Maybe he has 2 lands. If he does, then this hand sounds very good to me.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a shine here. We should be able to see it soon. Hopefully there's a Goblin Guide here to make it interesting.
Yep.
I think he would. He wouldn't do it otherwise.
It's a Grim Lavamancer.
Okay. I think, let's look at Michael's hand. I see.
He is land light. He only has the mountain.
What?
Yeah, he decided
With Ponder?
Yep, he decided to go ahead and lead the Grim instead.
Oh, Lord of mercy. That is not good.
Yeah, I don't think I would want to do that. I'd be much more interested in trying to find that land.
Hopefully we're making a mistake and the glare is too bad. Let's find out.
No, that's a Daze Ponder Chain Lightning, and I can't see the other 2 cards, but definitely Daze Ponder Chain Lightning.
Okay.
I think I would have been willing to risk the Volcanic Island. At a minimum, I would have gone Island Ponder if you want to be more conservative.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Did he draw a land?
He drew Arid Mesa.
All right, well, I guess if you know the top card of your deck...
I'm sorry, it was a Bloodstained Mire he cracked. He couldn't go get an island. He would have had to get a Volcanic Island.
Right, I think you still get the Volcanic Island there and Ponder, definitely. Yeah, because if you get Mountain here, you don't draw a land, you're done.
An opponent wastelanding on the draw is also not the strongest play. John Wilmer, no.
Yeah, and you have the Ponder, just in case you do get wasteland, at least you can look at the top 3 and you'll probably get a land somewhere in there. And if you don't, then, that's just, you're not drawing a second land for a while anyway. All right, so he has the Ponder here. He really lucked out with that Arid Mesa.
Looks like we've got a Goblin Guide, a Brainstorm, and a Delver, I believe, in those 3.
Definitely keep that.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. So he's going to stack them Goblin Guide, Delver, Brainstorm. If he gets to untap with that Volcanic Island, that's an awesome stack. If he doesn't, it's a really awkward stack.
Yeah. I think he's all in on the plan of hope you don't have it.
Ooh, Grafdigger's Cage. Interesting.
I don't like that sideboard against Andrew because it only stops Snapcaster Mage.
It does only stop Snapcaster Mage, but that is, one of Andrew's reasonably more powerful cards. If Michael is sideboarding specifically with the intent of stopping himself from dying to Price of Progress, which I realistically think is the most likely way he'll die, then that could be a reasonable cyber card to make it so that Andrew just actually has to cast 2 copies.
Right.
He can't just snap it.
I actually think that gives you an opportunity to bring in Smash to Smithereens in the next game, because now not only do you have an answer to that card, it's just another free bolt there. I think your Brainstorm here, to hit the second island here. It's kind of greedy. You could just play Delver here and then do it on the upkeep.
I think you have to play the Delver because you still have your Brainstorm on top of the deck. Yeah. So,
oh, he still has the Brainstorm on top.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
he kept that there. He's going to go ahead and play the Delver and get the flip in.
Okay.
Which, this is the game exactly like we're talking about. You know, if these creatures just manage to live for a little while, you can get in a lot of value.
Right.
And Michael is already under a lot of pressure. It looks like he kept a hand that was a little bit light, has some cycling and a bolt. Yeah. But beyond that, you know, not doing a lot.
This is kind of where Grafdigger's Cage is not going to do much for you. It does stop kind of in the later game, but it's kind of like boarding Rest in Peace against Lingering Souls by itself. Yeah, Lingering Souls is a problem, but Rest in Peace still allows him to have half of it. You know, lets him have two guys, where this allows him still to have a 2/1 flash guy and some beef on the board.
It's playing a Tarmogoyf. It's obviously pretty big, but it also feels like it's a turn too late.
Yeah, he has ice here to tap it to get more Goblin Guy damage in, or he can just, you know, save it for the fire aspect. But I think we're going to see what happens after he brainstorms here.
I think it's correct to ice it. You get a card out of it and the same 2 damage. The trade-off is obviously you give your opponent about 40% of a card.
Okay, so he leaves Daze in.
Yep.
Daze is Deathrite Shaman.
Which is a pretty good Daze here.
Auto flip, he looks just to make sure he didn't mess up here.
And yeah, now we're just gonna swing some. I don't know.
Swing here. Okay.
I guess you can wait and you can ice on his turn. The problem is if the Goblin Guy dies, then you're just icing for no reason. You don't get that damage in.
Right.
So I might have just been more aggressive with it and just gone ahead and
get that free 2.
Popped in for 2, get him to 11.
He's actually 8 now. They didn't take the 3 off from the Delver. Yeah, so he is real low. Michael, I can't see his hand right now. I think I see.
I think I see an Abrupt Decay and a Seismic Assault, yeah.
Alright, so he plays a land so he can cast Seismic Assault. He needs a triple red for it.
Yeah, it's his only Seismic Assault, but it's a pretty big high-impact card in this matchup.
Yeah.
In this particular spot, it can, you know, just kill that Delver right out of the sky. It looks like he's going to go for an Abrupt Decay instead, though.
Right, and Andrew didn't tap into turn with the ice, which is...
Yeah, I definitely would have done that.
Yeah, he's giving away damage, missing a cantrip here that could have resulted in another card. But Andrew has a Price of Progress, which is going to hurt real bad.
Yeah, Andrew's hand is stacked with all the cards he wants. He has Price of Progress, he has Bolt, he has Brainstorm, and he has Fire and Ice, which, as we've already discussed...
he gets a dual land again. He doesn't have a basic mount, so he has to get the duel here.
Yeah, he has to get the duel in order to be able to untap into Seismic Assault.
And he is taking 8 damage from this. I don't see him coming back from this.
The Delver's getting decayed. That's cool.
Yeah.
Now, you know, if we had iced that Tarmogoyf, we'd actually be threatening lethal this turn.
He would be dead here.
But instead, we're going to threaten lethal next turn.
Right. Main phase here, which I don't know if I do. I mean, I guess you do it so he doesn't play Wasteland and waste himself right off the bat.
Yeah, at a minimum, you have to do it before he gets to his main phase. So.
Right, during his upkeep, probably I might do it. All right, so he's at 2.
That guy's a little late to this party.
Oh, he's at 1 actually. He cracked the fetch land.
Yep.
So he's going to tap 3, play Seismic Assault, then he's going to die. Andrew could show him here the...
he's going to die in a horrible fire.
He can pick a fire, he can pick a bolt.
I'd fire. I'd split it up too.
Yeah.
Bolt's fine.
Yeah, he drew another bolt. So he had bolt in his hand still. Huh? He still had all these, as we say, right?
Well, that's exactly what Blue Red Delver wants to do. It wants to draw, as we said, 2, maybe 3 lands, and then just spells to the face.
Thank God he didn't have a Wasteland. That would be a... this game would have been a lot different.
Yeah, Michael kept a hand that was a little heavy on lands, but did not have that key land that he needed, Wasteland, and Andrew was able to capitalize. He just streamed nonstop magic.
And Andrew had a heroic mountain fetch at the very beginning to leave himself at 1 land, unable to cast any spell in the rest of his hand. They're all blue, except for a lightning bolt, and he drew the Arid Mace at the top. So I bet Andrew was breathing a breath of kind of a sigh of relief there, just saying, "Ooh, that was a close one."
Those are the best games to win. You know, you're riding on this edge of your seat. Like, whew.
Yeah. Oh,
tight one. Feels good. It's like mulling to 4.
Yeah. I bet that was almost a mull to 4 there, keeping having a soul mountain in play.
A little far. Yeah. I don't think he would have made it here on 4 cards. He had all these. We didn't have all those.
Right. Yeah, he has all of it. I've seen a lot of miraculous comeback wins here today, and yesterday. All right, so Game 3 is underway. We're going to see maybe a Smash the Smithereens appearance, but then Andrew's like, Grafdigger's Cage, I'm not too worried about that, maybe, you know. It really depends on if he feels like it's going to have any impact on this game here. But Smash is a Bolt, so who knows?
Yep.
All right, so shuffle up. Jund is on the play, which...
Good for him.
Good stuff for him.
It will mean he can play a Deathrite Shaman, and that will force Andrew into the very difficult position of playing a threat or answering it on turn 1.
Right.
And obviously, he wants to play a threat, but the Deathrite Shaman, if left unchecked, can give Michael such a huge advantage that it is likely worth just spending turn 1 bolting it, which gives Michael, in turn, the chance to, you know, again have the initiative, play a Tarmogoyf, play another Deathrite Shaman, something like that.
Right.
Even a Dark Confidant becomes much more reasonable when you're on the play in that kind of situation.
Absolutely. I don't know if he kept Dark Confidant in. I don't think I'd ever board it out against any matchup. But if you were to board it out
on the draw, but on the play, I think it's fine.
Yeah, this is the only matchup even on the draw I would definitely board it out. These super aggressive decks, and it looks like he has 1 land again. Andrew on that side.
Yeah.
Michael's fine. He's got Surgical in his hand. He boarded Surgical Extraction, which is going to combo with this Duress here. Oh, he's going to be able to take out all the... Is that double Brainstorm?
No, that's Brainstorm, Vapor Snag, Delver, Price of Progress, 2 lands.
All right, so he's going to take the Price of Progress here, obviously.
Yep.
I don't know if he's Surgical here. He might.
There's some debate. I think you could take the Brainstorm here as well.
Right.
But Price is like a big card. You'll have to play around it all game. So
that's pretty much the only card that kills Michael each game. You know, it's Price of Progress. And if he knows they're all gone, he can just lay every land in his deck out without having any fear.
If he thinks he can handle the Delvers, I think there's some merit to taking the Brainstorm. But generally speaking, I would take the Price. Like you said, it is the most dangerous card. It is how Andrew plans to win this matchup. It's his Jace.
Exactly. If Michael has an Abrupt Decay to deal with the Delver, then you're fine. Otherwise, you do have to consider taking the Brainstorm. Let's see if he has...
Yeah,
takes the Price.
Take that Price. Now, if he's going to Surgical, he's certainly going to want to wait to do it.
On the draw step.
He'll give Andrew an opportunity to draw another one.
He's not. It doesn't look like he's doing it.
Yeah.
He would have to do it in response to...
He's probably going to wait until he has an untapped land, is my guess.
Right, so he doesn't shock himself.
Yeah.
That's fine.
He can also use it after Delver's reveal if Andrew reveals a good spell in order to avoid letting Andrew draw that card.
Right. Andrew can Brainstorm in response.
I think I would... Andrew could Brainstorm in response. Actually, that's what I think you would probably need to do that. It's very likely that if you would pass the turn, Andrew would have considered brainstorming during his own upkeep.
Right.
And after he brainstorms, putting a spell on top for Delver, you can Surgical him,
then make him
shuffle his deck, and he's back to random with Delver, and he threw away a spell with his brainstorm.
Right. Yeah, that would have been a much better play.
I think that it's not necessarily a lock that Andrew makes that play, but give him the opportunity.
I think you do make that play, don't you? You want your
I
Delver
think
to
it's strictly
flip,
better than this play.
And not only that, you can set it up where putting a Vapor Snag 2 down and having your second Delver flip. So yeah, I think you can flip both Brainstorms.
Playing the Brainstorm in this situation is like a little awkward because Andrew would like to have both Delvers in play before he stacks it. So I could see there's some argument against it for that reason.
Right, but he actually has the cards in hand to flip both Delvers because he can put a Vapor Snag.
The second Delver is the issue. He'd have to hit a blue
is
source.
he holding a Mountain currently?
Yeah, he's holding a Mountain. So that's the only reason that I would not make that play if I'm Andrew.
He doesn't even bother.
Yeah, he does not even consider it. So it turns out it wouldn't have paid off, but I still think we give him the opportunity.
Right.
At a minimum, seeing what card is on top of his deck before you Surgical is pretty good value.
Shuffling your opponent's library after the reveal is good because you can just say, oh, that card is a devastating one. You can make him get rid of it.
Yeah.
All right, so second Delver comes in. He's going to have tons of damage on board here. You're definitely going to Brainstorm during this upkeep because flipping both of them is just a boatload of damage. Michael's deck's well positioned to beat this deck, but he has to have the Punishing Fire, and I think I see Punishing Fire. I think I see it in the middle of his hand, but he does not have the Grove. Here comes the Punishing Fire. All right, so he does have it, just no Grove. So he basically paid 2 for a shock, but that shock obviously gets a lot better. If Andrew brought in Surgical, now would be the time. This would be a pretty nasty Surgical here. Then his creatures are safe for the most part.
Oh man, all spells so
all
good.
So you burn all of
Goblin Guide, Chain Lightning. Yes. So I imagine he'll throw back probably
2 Goblin Guides.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was okay.
Probably
awesome.
throw back something Bolt and reveal the Bolt that Michael already knows he has.
Right, and that's what he's going to do here.
Yep, there it is. Flip, and then we're going to play Goblin Guide and get to work.
Right. Still on 2 lands, which is not bad because he has the exact 2 lands he needs. A basic land island, basic land mountain. Nothing Michael can do about this.
Andrew is perilously close to just having
He
lethal.
didn't flip for Goblin Guide.
Yeah, we did miss a Goblin Guide trigger there.
He would have flipped the land and drawn it.
Flipped the land, yep.
All right, here's Liliana.
Goblin Guide happy to run protection here.
Right. Saves Delver. And do you even bother with Liliana?
I have a Vendilion Click in my hand that is doing nothing.
Right,
I'm going to ignore that.
And even
Liliana.
maybe the Vapor Snag, you have 2 cards that are pretty worthless here.
I just jam down Goblin Guide, leave up Vapor Snag in case he does something.
Yeah, definitely here. Goblin Guide, 5 damage right to Michael.
That'll put him to 7. A Vapor Snag can get him to 6, and then he's got Bolt Chain Lightning, and that'll be that.
Right.
Looks like he may be splitting it up.
Punching fire.
We did our Goblin Guide this time.
Oh, he is splitting it up.
Yeah, well, that'll put Michael to 9.
I don't agree with that, but I don't know if that's going to... Andrew has such a strong hand right now. I don't know if that's going to be a deterring factor here in winning. So Michael is going to obviously punching fire the flip Delver. He can play all the lands he wants, doesn't matter. What's that last card? It looks like a cave.
Ooh. Vapor Snagging this Delver's a little loose. You don't even know it's going to flip.
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
I think that's a little aggressive.
It
gives him there is some upside to the play. The primary upside being that if you don't draw a card you can cast, you're going to get to use your island, basically.
However, once Michael draws that Grove of the Burn Willows, the creature plans out, and Andrews luckily has some burn, and that Vapor Snag is a burn spell.
And he actually just drew an Arid Mesa, which he's now going to want to be casting Vendilion Click, fetching up a Volcanic Island probably.
Right.
But
perfect time to draw it here.
Got that Delver back in his hand. There's some temptation to do that as well.
I think you just play Vendilion Click. You have to getting the information from Michael, seeing what he has, is more important than a possible flip there, and it has the same power anyway. So utilizing your mana.
The awkward thing here is that we just saw a Lightning Bolt on top of our opponent's deck, so we know we're going to lose a guy.
Yeah, the punching fire.
And paying 3 mana to lose our guy is a lot more miserable.
Right. So he's going to go the other play, I guess, and he can go this way where he chain lightnings here.
You definitely chain here because Michael
he
could have 2 red. Yeah.
Right.
This is going to be the one turn for likely some time in which Michael doesn't leave 2 red up to play around chain lightning. So
he left the wasteland up because Andrew only showed the chain or the lightning bolt, and he doesn't know about the chain lightning because it would have been obvious to leave the Badlands up instead.
Well, he had to tap the red for punishing fire, but he might have played a different land to be able to get to double red. For sure.
All right, so he says go.
Now it looks like he's just gonna get got here. I believe he looked at his card with Delver, found nothing, and decided to fetch.
Okay.
That's my guess, because that's a pretty common play with this archetype. It's one of the main uses of a fetch land.
Yeah, missed the look there. So, only thing we've really seen miss is the Michael missed his Goblin Guy, which would have got him 1 card deeper. I'm not sure how important that is here.
And then...
So, in fact, Michael really didn't have all the answers for these Delvers. He had an answer for 1.
Yep.
So, maybe that brainstorm at the beginning could have been the play that would have changed the game. But that's not a mistake. It's more of a, you're gambling. It's one side or the other.
Well, if this attack goes through, Andrew's got lethal with that bolt.
Well, he has the punishing fire. He used on the other Delver that got saved, and then he flipped another burn spell. So he has 1 removal spell.
He has the Singleton Bolt.
Yeah.
But either creature he bolts is going to leave him dead. Michael's going to destroy Volcanic Island. Andrew's going to float in response. Good float. Don't do anything yet, because you're in Declare blockers. What Michael actually should have done if he really wanted to tempt him here is Wasteland during Declare attackers. Then once he's in Declare blockers, he won't have that extra mana. Andrew might have been tempted to do something like cast Vendilion Click, but I highly doubt that would happen. He's not going to throw away a sure kill here.
Yeah, he's right now. Andrew is in complete control. He has way more than enough damage on board and in hand to finish him off. He's just going to go for bolt here. Yeah,
and that's it.
That's it. All right, so Andrew Hurst takes it with blue-red Delver, 2-1.